Everyone quits, by the way, right?
Right.
Well, but remember I told you this? In the MyStudio system, across our 3,000 studios that uses the system, what do you think the average stay is for your student? I don't know if you remember that. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Simple Profit Podcast. My name is Tulay, and the goal of our podcast is very simple. We want to turn your business into $1 million grossing business. That's the only goal that we have in this podcast that we have. Today, we have Zach returning for the third session of our podcast recording. We've been kind of tracking Zach's progress since he opened up his new studio, his new business in August of 2024 and jumping onto MyStudio. At that point, he had about 20-something students. And our goal is to get that to 100 students in 12 months. Zach, welcome back to the show. Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well in other aspects. You know, we could use some work, especially on my project of creating my new business. So, but overall, life's not bad.
All right. In the past two podcasts, we really talk about the first thing we have to do is cut costs, right?
Right.
We talked about, hey, let's get to how much is your rent. You had a full-time, a staff member that was there and yourself and using funds that you're eligible through military and the government to kind of help you subsidize your business, which is okay. But we really wanted to get the business to kind of sustain itself, right? So let's talk about expenses and how you've done with that. So how are our expenses looking for you?
Expenses, after we've put in those plans in place, they've stayed consistent. So it's still the one caveat where they haven't stayed consistent is I signed on with a new digital marketing agency to get me leads. Other than that, so that increased.
You're spending some extra what we call marketing dollars, right?
Right.
To get leads through the door, which is great. Okay. So then cost is remaining the same. The reason why I asked that is it's really important, right? There's only two things we can do in business. That is to increase revenue or to cut costs. Right? We're putting in all the time that we can already. So for a brand new business, a lot of times what I see, and it wasn't the case with you as well, is we go in there with way too much cost and overhead. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it cuts down the amount of time that we have, what we call the runway, to get our business to take off, right? If you want to just imagine an airplane, a jumbo jet, we haven't gotten to the air yet. We haven't gotten anywhere yet. The air is kind of like the higher you go, the more money you've made in your business. You know what I mean? Revenue comes in. When we start our own business, that plane is sitting dead still. It's not going anywhere. It's not even moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And expenses, we immediately go into the red. We kind of talk about this. When you sign a lease, you're putting down first month's rent, maybe a 1 month guarantee, etc. So you kind of in the hole like 10, 15,000 already. You have no customers. You got to build your website. You got to buy mats. You got to paint in your studio, get a sign on top, etc. All of those cost money. And then when you're finally able to open the doors, you're like 20, 30, 40,000 in the hole, right? And then you're like, okay, I gotta start getting students in the door. And in your case, we were overspending in software costs, like close to $1,000 per month, which didn't make sense, right? With MyStudio, you're like 189, right? So we save you like 5x in cost. Second, we had a full-time instructor because there was no students. You were really the one that needed to teach to save payroll dollars there. And then there were other costs that we kind of identify as hey, we don't need this right now. It doesn't add to the bottom line or to the business sense. All right? Because let's just say the worst case scenario, you have $30,000 left to invest in this business. And let's say expenses cost you $10,000 a month. Your runway is 3 months before you run out of money. But if we were able to cut down the cost from 10,000, right? 10,000 to let's say 7,500. Okay. That gives us another month of runway, right? Because now with the 30,000, you can kind of stretch that out now a lot more, like 4 months now, right? 7,000 times 4 months is 28,000. If we cut it down to 5,000 a month and we can keep it there, now you got 6 months of runway compared to 3 months. That's before. It's really important because it takes time to grow. Well, we are kind of at like the 7-8 months since you've been with us. I'm looking at the numbers here. August, you had 29 students in August. And as of today, right, I am looking at February 2025, your account in MyStudio, and it's showing me 38 students with 2 memberships that were signed on. One is in your teen adult black belt and one's in your junior black belt club. Is that correct, Zach?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. So we're growing, right? And what I'm encouraged by is I'm going to, kind of take and you've had 9 students quit. I can see that. 4 of them quit between month 0 and 3. The other 5 quit between month 4 and 6. And if guys, I'm looking at Zach's account as I'm talking to him right now, right? If you don't have this data right in front of you easily, you need to have that, right? These are just like what we call key performance indicators that I'm talking about with Zach to kind of really see the health of his school, right? So the students that are quitting, they're quitting between month 0 and 3 and month 4 and 6. As I look at his sales, right? This is what really matters, like sales wise. From a program membership standpoint, we are seeing billing jumping. And again, this is February 6th, so only really 6 days in the month. In August, he was billing $2,300. And as of right now, 6 days into February, you are billing $3,981. Zach, this is some really good stuff, right? $2,300 monthly billing. You're now at $3,900. Okay, so you've increased $1,700 in billing and through the system, right? Or what we call membership value. So that's a good growth, right? You're looking at almost 80% growth there, and we're only 6 days into the month. I mean, that's good progress. How do you feel?
Yeah. So I mentioned I have a whole bunch of questions for you. So that looking at
let's start with that win there, right? A lot of time we look at this, we always want to do better, but
right.
You're not going down, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since August, right? I'm looking at the data here, right? You can't lie to me. I see the numbers here. You're doing better. You've increased your monthly revenue from your memberships. In August, I'm seeing $2,332 to now $3,009. So $1,700 increase, right? I would celebrate that.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I do. I'd say the reason that, a big reason of that is developing the structured program that we teach and being a personable kind of person. So it's able to, those students that have left, some of those numbers are kind of deceiving. One of them was a student that didn't even make it a full testing cycle. And then another one was someone.
Zach, I'm just going to stop you right here. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just being blunt here. It doesn't matter why they stop or why they quit. Students quit all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
We have 1,000 students in Encourage. I can give you every single one of the reasons why those students quit. But the matter of fact is people quit.
Right.
We just need to know where they quit, and we need to know how do we stop them, or how do we stop more people that are coming in from quitting, right? Or slow them down. Everyone quits, by the way, right?
Right.
Well, but remember I told you this, in the MyStudio system, across our 3,000 studios that uses the system, what do you think the average stay is for your student? I don't know if you remember this.
9 months.
9 months. 9 months. Okay. 9 months. So knowing that, to your point, we have to get new students in the door, right? So I want to talk about this marketing strategy that you're talking about. But first, I'm going to look at your lead numbers real quick here. Okay. This is looking promising here. So let me take the audience through this. When you started with us in August, we saw 6 leads came in September, 11 leads came in October, and you are tracking the lead conversion system, which is good. You did a good job in September. You converted 40% or 2 out of your 5 leads. October, you had 15 total leads, right? But you convert only 1 of them. So that's a 7%. So I'm seeing some lead drop off here, but let's say, okay, January, you had 15 leads, but you only converted 1 so far, right? And so far in February, you have 8. So you're getting leads coming in, teens and adults, your kids as well. So let me ask you, what are you doing? What happens when these leads come in?
That was one of my questions. So I am a little unsure of steps I should be doing for the lead follow-up process and some automations I should put in place. I went into MyStudio and looked at the automation templates that are kind of in there and I could do some research and listen to some podcasts and industry.
Okay, I'm just gonna, let's just stop. Automation is very different now. Okay, the way that we talk about automation is like, hey, when the lead come in, right away send them this email offer or like a text offer, right? Is that correct?
Right.
That's a typical lead, what we call nurturing or lead capture system. What happens if you're teaching class and the lead responds back to the email or let's say the text that you're sending? If you're teaching class, what happens?
I use Amplify, so Amplify will respond to them.
Okay, so can you explain what Amplify is?
Yes, sir. Amplify, the AI messaging system through MyStudio that's pre-built with questions specific to my gym.
Perfect. And we're seeing a 5x conversion on that. So what I want to get through to the audience is like, I get a sense of calm when you say this, right? And I'm glad you're spending marketing money to get your leads now. It is pointless if you're spending money to get your leads and they come in and no one is reaching out to them within the first 5 minutes. Because why do I say the first 5 minutes? If you look at any sales system, any lead conversion system, the best sales systems in the world will fail if you don't reach them within 5 minutes. What Amplify is doing is it is responding immediately when they're on the website. It's like when you look at a lead, when you look at like an ad, right, on Facebook and you're like, oh, I'm interested in that. What if somebody texts you or call you right then? You're like, oh my God, yeah, maybe I do want to buy this thing. Conversion rate, what I'm saying is going 500x. And you're selling, is it a free class? Is it a trial? What is Amplify selling for you?
They're selling the free, the first class is always free. And then our current special is 2 weeks for $25.
Okay. So you are selling a free class or are you selling the $25 trial?
Yeah. So it's kind of both. I don't 100% know if I should take the free class out of there or just do it specific to the 2 weeks for $25.
I'm going to make a really easy suggestion that I recommend for you at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about the $25. Get the student, get the lead inside your studio. Get them that free class. Just have Amplify and you as well sell them that free class. Why am I saying this? Okay. Earlier, you told me, I asked you, hey, how did you grow from 2,300 in billing in August, now 3,900, 70, 80, somewhat decent growth here. And you say, hey, I'm really personable. I love teaching. If you put a price in front of me, $25, I'm like, maybe not. But if you're like, free class, I'm like, you know what? It's a free class. It's not going to hurt. I'm going to come teach. Right. And if they get in front of you, my guess is that you're going to convert 60 to 80% or 6 to 8 people out of 10 to your memberships, right?
Yes, sir.
Especially if you have a membership option that we talked about that allows them to come month to month.
Right.
Right. Of course, you have like a year-long offer or 6 month that will save them a little bit of money if they commit for a whole year. But let's say if I'm an undecided parent and my kid is kind of like, maybe I'm interested in martial arts. You know what? Tenacity Martial Arts down the road has good reputation. Here's a free class. The business responded to me right away, which the other one didn't because you have Amplify. Oh, and here's a free class. Let me book it. If that person comes in and take class with you, right, and you nail that intro lesson. If you did not listen to the podcast we did last week, Zach, I want you to listen to that. I talked to Naveen, who's a CEO of a 350 location business. And I asked him, hey, what are the 3 things I really want to grow my business really well? He's like, processes, get the right people. You are the people. You are the right person right now, Zach. Does that make sense? Don't hire anybody else. You don't have money for that. But you are the right person already. You got to put processes in place, which you're working with. And then he said, you got to nail your intro lesson, man. That's the key to success right there, right? So simplify everything down. Forget about the $25 trial. Just the free class. Doesn't matter if Amplify is selling to them or they call in or they walk into you. Your pitch should be like, you know what? I love it here. We have a free class offer, or we do it, encourage a free week. So you get 2 classes in, right?
Right.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why we do that in a second here. We used to do a whole month. We cut it down to 2 weeks and then we cut it down to 1 week. And what we see from these process, we've done free trials the whole time, right? And we've done paid trials as well. I just make it so simple for our team because everything is automated through us. And the free offer is just easy. There's no overcoming objections for our team, right? So that's what I would recommend. Just sell your free class, right? You're getting the leads in. If you can convert, okay, the goal for you is to convert 30 to 40% of the leads that you're getting or you're buying through the system to come in for your first class. And then I want you to convert 70 to 80% of those. So if I get 10 leads, I should be booking 4 appointments.
Right.
You look at Amplify, if they're talking to Amplify and you see the thread to MyStudio, what they're asking, what's important to them. If they didn't book a class with Amplify, and for those that are listening, our Amplify systems book the first class or the trial, paid, free, whatever, all through text. Okay, so everything's done through text, so really easy. And you can have transparency and see the whole conversation in the MyStudio, that platform. But if you see that they have not converted, Zach, I want you to call them right away.
Okay.
Are you doing that?
I am. Yeah. So I generally call them if they haven't amplified and then they haven't booked. I call them the next day.
No. I don't want you to call them the next day. I want you to, if you can, call them within 5 minutes of when that lead comes in. Now, Amplify is going to text them immediately and have that conversation.
Right.
And Amplify is going to convert. It's converting 5x. So maybe 2 out of your 5 people, you don't have to talk to them. Amplify is going to do that. But that personalization at this stage, and even when you're like at 1,000 school like Encourage, we obviously use Amplify and we kill it with that. But guess what? Whether they book or they don't book with us through Amplify, our instructors call them immediately, Zach.
What's the time frame on if you get the lead in the middle of you teaching class or at night? What's the general rule of thumb that you use for your gyms of when to call them if it's late at night or in the middle of class?
We don't call after 8 p.m.
After 8.
Okay. And we don't call before 8 a.m.
Right.
But I generally 9 a.m. in the morning, I don't want our team to call. 8 a.m. is kind of too early. They're with the kids doing family, school drop off and stuff like that. 9 o'clock is kind of like a good time frame because typically at 9, I've already dropped my kids off at school and I'm kind of driving to work or I'm getting ready for work.
Right.
But you're right. Like we have, full-time instructors that teach. We don't have someone up front. We've hired like high schoolers and part-timers between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. to kind of say hi to people up front, welcome the students in. And our instructors will call the leads as soon as they get out of class, right before the day end. So let's say if the lead came in at 4 p.m., right, in the middle of our busiest time from 4 to 6, obviously they're not getting a call back, right? But when we're done, our classes wrap up at 7:30. At 7:30, our instructors are calling. And they're looking at Amplify and they say, oh man, I got 5 leads that came in. Okay, 2 booked. Hey, Zach, we're so excited to look forward to Jennifer to come in for our first class, right? Otherwise, like, Zach, hey, I saw that you are interested in our martial arts program. My name is Master Tule. I'm the main instructor here at Encourage Martial Arts. I just want to personally reach out to you to let you know. I'd love to have a conversation with you and answer any questions you have about our program. And hopefully we can get you to become a member of our community. Thank you so much. Our phone number here is ABCD, or feel free to text us as well. That's it. That's like a very simple, personalized call that should get done as soon as you can, right? If the lead comes in at 11 a.m., I don't care what I'm doing. If my instructors are training, get out of the instructor training, right? Why are we doing instructor training? So we can teach students. If we don't have students, we have no one to teach. Unless I am teaching a class or I'm doing something that's related to a student, I want the team members to follow up on that lead because that's gold. Without that lead, without that lead, we don't have any students. We don't have a business. Let me see. You are charging how much? Have we increased prices yet for your memberships? No more big discounts, yeah?
Right. I've just been selling at a consistent price. So
okay, good.
Yeah.
Because you were giving like a huge, first time discount and stuff like that. Okay.
Right.
What, how much what's the average month to month?
$150 a month.
$150, perfect. Okay. Let's just say they stay 10 months because you are going to be better than the average school in MyStudio.
Right.
That means each student is worth how much money to you? If they stay 10 months and you charge $150?
$1,500.
$1,500. We call that lifetime value of a customer, Zach. Right? Does that make sense?
It does.
If a lead comes in, that's potentially somebody dropping $1,500 bills right in front of your face. Like if you see $1,500 cash sitting right there, would you stop instructor training and go pick that up?
Absolutely.
Of course. Right? And this is what I'm saying. I don't care what you're doing unless if you're teaching class. My team, if we get a lead comes in, man, we go after that, right? Because that's gold. That's literally a $1,500 potential customer that's coming in. And let me break this down. Our goal is to convert 25% of our leads into a trial. Does that make sense so far?
It does.
So 4 leads come in, 1 of them we need to book, right? We should do better. I mean, you should do like 50% is kind of ideal, but I'm just, for the sake of this, let's just say 25%. Okay? So 1 trial comes in. We convert 55% of our free trials into paying memberships, right? So I'm going to break this down. If we know that we convert 25% of our leads into our trials and we convert 50% of our trials into paying members and each members is worth $1,500, that means if I get 8 leads, which you have in your system right now, I can see it. In February, you have 8 leads in your system. If you convert 25% of that, that means 2 of those people should be coming in for your trial lessons, right?
Right.
If you convert 50% of your trials, that means how many students will enroll or how many trial will enroll out of those 2? 1. So your 8 leads generated $1,500 of business income. Does that make sense?
Right.
Right. And you may say, well, some students stay 3 years, some quit within the first 3 months. I'm just saying average. Right. So for those 8 leads, you're using a marketing system right now. How much should you be paying for each lead?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So let's break this down. We call this CAC, customer acquisition cost. How much does it cost us to acquire a new customer? Let's say I'm your marketing agency and I say, Zach, if you pay me $1,000, I will guarantee, Zach, to give you 1 paying student. Will you take it? Remember, each student will give you an average of $1,500. I'm going to charge you $1,000 and I'm going to guarantee to get you a student. Will you take it?
I would say yes, because of the monthly recurring revenue. Just did the numbers that I'm in the plus by 500. Oh, if they're staying at least 10 months.
Okay, you say yes. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna make $500 from that student. Okay. The answer is you shouldn't. Right, and I'll tell you why. There's this thing we call gross margin, right? In order to serve a student, what do you have to do?
Teach classes.
Teach classes. Okay. In order to teach classes, you need a space to teach it in, right? So you're paying rent. You should be paying yourself a payroll when you get there, or you're paying someone to teach your class. And then you're going to have to buy equipment and all of that, right? So the gross margin of running and servicing your students, right, typically at an established studio is about 50% of the cost of a student, how much they're going to pay you. So if we use 1,500, this is very important, guys, if you're listening to me. If I use 1,500, half of that, 750, is just servicing them. Rent payment, payroll, utility, electricity, gas, etc. You get my point, right? Costs that I need to have in order to service that student. That's 50%. Okay? That's 750. That's going to cost me to do that already. Now, if I'm telling you I'm going to charge you $1,000 for every student that you have, that means the cost for you to acquire that customer, which is $1,000, and the cost for you to service that customer is now $1,750, which means every student that I bring to you, Zach, you are actually losing $250 in revenue. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
This episode is brought to you by MyStudio.io, the customer management and billing software for the modern day business. MyStudio powers thousands of businesses to ensure that a sign up or a sale opportunity is never missed. Customer management and communication is easy and can be fully automated so you can focus on what matters the most. So your CAC cannot be more than 30% of the lifetime value of your student. Okay, why am I saying 30%? If my cost to operate my school and the student is 50% of my gross, and the cost of acquiring new students is 30%, I have only 20% left to take home. And you should shoot for at least a 20% net in your business. Some studios like you may go up to 50% to get the student cost because you're a new school, but I recommend staying at 30%. So what does that mean? So if I take $1,500 multiplied by 30%, you have $450 to spend to get a new student. Let's take Encourage's case, okay? I'm doing this math a lot. You can re-listen to this episode and break this down. What percentage am I converting my trials, Zach?
55%.
We'll use 50%, okay? That means if you tell me, hey, I can give you a trial for $450, which is 30% of my CAC, would you take it? I'm just going to give you trials now. I can't guarantee a student membership because it's up to you to teach them. But I can guarantee you I'll get you a trial for every $450 you spend with me. Will you take it?
Yes, knowing that you're going to convert 2 of them.
No, you will not take that. Because at $450 is the max that you can spend on acquiring a paying customer, Zach. If I'm converting 50% of my trial.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That means you have to divide that 450 by 2, right? So if I tell you I'm going to get you a trial with $225, I would say yes to that, because if you give me 2 trials at $225, I'm going to convert one of them. So it costs me $450 to get one new student that is paying me from the 2 trials, because I convert 50%. That's costing me $225. Am I making sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's break it down to lead. What if this marketing company says, I'm going to get you leads. How much would you spend for a lead? Well, that depends on your lead conversion to trial system, right? If I'm converting 25% of my lead into a trial, and the maximum amount I can spend on a trial is $225 based on my 50% trial conversion rate to a paying member, which the lifetime value of that member equals to $1,500, right? Which means I take the cost of the trial, which is $225 I can spend, I multiply that by 25%. That gives me a maximum spend of $56.25 for each lead. Are you with me, Zach?
I am.
I need you to break down this math and understand this so that if you are working with any marketing company, okay, and how marketing company work is they will do marketing for you. They will run the ads for you, and they will charge you a monthly fee or a percentage of the ad spend that you spend, right?
Right.
If you have to tally all of that up, and you got to make sure how many leads are these people bringing me and how much have I paid them. And if you don't convert, if you're paying over $56, you got to make sure you're converting more than 25% of your leads into trials. I'm looking at the system here, and you're converting about 7 to 10% on average.
Right.
Which means your lead cost needs to be less than like $25 per lead. Or you really work those leads and make sure you convert them. Then you can spend more on your leads. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So those of you guys that are working marketing and make sure you break all this down from a lifetime value to a cost of a customer and understand that, hey, rule of thumb is don't spend more than 30%, right? Don't spend more than 30% of what your lifetime value of a customer is, right? In this case, just use 10 months as a student, right? Multiply by how much you charge a month. Don't spend more than that to acquire a new paying customer. Most marketing company will charge you per trial or charge you per lead. They don't charge. They say, I'm going to get you leads, right? You got to make sure you do the math to say, how much is it costing me to get a lead? How many of those leads convert into a trial? How many of the trial convert into a paying membership? And I just pull all your numbers from MyStudio. So that's how we came up with no more than $56 per lead. And the takeaway, Zach, is make sure, right? You got Amplify, which is great. Change your trial into a free class. Just get them in front of you. And when you get an email that says the lead due, that's $1,500 right there. Call them right away.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's go to your questions, man.
Yeah, so I've been implementing our events that we talked about, parents' night out, birthday parties, VIP parties, reaching out to events to the community. The biggest objection I've gotten, they love the parents' night out, the event, but we have football, we have this sport, we have that sport, and we would love to, but we're in too much stuff. What is kind of some of the overcoming those objections that you use at your gym to They've already came in the door. They love the event, and they're right there on the fence, and I'm not able to get them back for that free class.
Got it. So you're getting leads into the door. We just talked about getting leads, right? From your website, and we're paying up to $50 per lead. These events, they're coming in and it's not costing you $50 per head. Right. Sometime maybe they're paying. I want you to continue doing that, right? These leads, just like your website leads or any other leads, right? You have to, it's like a numbers game. You can't convert 100% of them. And some people are not interested in martial arts, Zach, but it's a numbers game. The more leads you get into the door, and if your average conversion is 25%, if you're only getting 10 leads now, right, we can count on like 2 of those leads trying out your classes. And you're like, man, how do I get the other 8? Well, sometimes you can't because they're not into it, right? But maybe if you really step up your game, you can get like 33 of them out of 10. What I'm saying is try to get 20 leads into the school.
Okay.
Through this event, right? And do the same thing you're doing now, but you got more leads coming in and more of them will convert because it's a numbers game. It's like a numbers game, right? I don't know. We're both guys, so I'll say this. Like, let's say we're in high school asking for a prom date. You're going to get rejected a lot. At least I did. I mean, I'm not that awesome, right? But if I just ask enough people, somebody will say yes.
Right.
And if I am self-confident enough where I can handle the rejection, right? Somebody's going to say yes.
Right.
And it's the same thing with leads, man. You got to get more people. And not everybody's going to say yes. The goal is to get out and get in front of more people. Okay. So keep doing this event. I'm so happy to hear that you're doing them. You named it all, man. I'm really proud of you, dude. Like events, birthday party, like VIP. Keep crushing it. And you're going to see at 39, how many students now? 39 students that you have right now. It's going to be like 1x effective. At 80 students, Zach, guess what? It becomes twice as effective.
Okay.
Because now you got 80 students.
Right.
What you're doing is you got to train those muscles to run those events. Our schools didn't go to like the $1 million overnight, man. It's repetitive, day over day, week over week. Keep doing it, right? It's like a snowball effect, right? It gets bigger and bigger. And if your student mass gets bigger and bigger, everything you do starts to work a little bit better, right? Because it's a numbers game, right? Converting 25% of 10 people gives you 2.5, maybe 2 leads. Converting 25% of 100 leads get you 25 trials, Zach.
Right.
And how do you get 100 leads? Well, you got to have a lot of students to come, right? And you see yourself running the same thing, but you're going to get a lot more volume. But right now, you just got to hustle and keep doing the same thing.
Right.
Make sure Amplify is turned on. Make sure you have a good nurturing campaign, right? Because right now may not be the right moment for that lead. Maybe a month from now is better. So you got to have an email drip campaign that comes out, every 3 weeks for a whole year.
Okay.
Just make sure like, hey, we'll let you know that we're here. These are the benefits of martial arts. And a lot of people say, I want one. Can you just do it for me? Use ChatGPT and say, hey, can you give me 10 emails for follow-up, right? For leads that are interested in martial arts but are not ready now for me to use in a nurturing email campaign. That's all you got to do. ChatGPT will give you 10 follow-up content email. And all you got to do is just edit that and put that into the MyStudio system.
Right. That's those were my 2 biggest questions is follow up at events and kind of lead follow up. Now we broke down the numbers. It's been super helpful. I'm going to go back and really listen to this again and kind of write down all those and evaluate everything I'm paying. And we talked about cutting those expenses, so I got to make sure the marketing is beneficial for me and meeting those numbers. Yeah,
you can hold your marketing. We spend a lot of money on an MBA, right? We went to Harvard and all that, but this is the biggest thing that people don't understand. If you can understand this, you can hold every single marketing agency, responsible for what they're doing for you. Like, how much money am I spending for a lead? If they can't answer that money for you or that question for you, don't use them. Right? Because you know your number. Like, I can't spend more than $25, $26 per lead. How much money do I need to spend to get one lead? Inclusive of your monthly fee that you're going to charge me. Right?
Right. Yeah. So you're saying that, that it's been added together. So that's your overall number that you're looking together.
You have to, right? Yeah. Otherwise, you're losing money. Right? That's the maximum dollar I can spend per lead, inclusive of everything from a marketing standpoint. It's just not the ad. It's the ad spend, the person doing the ad, which you're hiring an agency. How much are they costing? Right.
Well, I appreciate it. Those were my two biggest questions that I was really wanting to ask you to get stuff going on. I'll start honing all this in and keep doing those events and have some more questions for you next time.
That's awesome, man. So see, right now we've kind of gotten away from the questions from your previous 2 webinars was like, how much do I charge people? What do I do? You know, how about expenses? And we finally gotten to the part where you're like, marketing, let's go. Right? This is what we call our go-to-market strategy. I have a product that works, which means people are staying, they're paying you. You have an MVP of a minimal viable product that you've proven that people are willing to pay to take martial art classes from you. The challenge now is, how do I get as many people in the door as possible? Right on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. This is Zach Resnik at Tenacity Martial Arts over in Utah. And we're going to be doing this a whole year, right? And our goal is we're going to get him to 100 students. I'm not going to stop until he quits. I don't think he's going to quit in order we get to 100 students, okay? And that's my goal here with the show. And I hope that these particular one-on-one podcasts can help you if you're starting out. Maybe you are sitting there at 40 students, right? Follow some of the steps that Zach's doing. Zach is very open. He's very kind. This is why I'm working with him. If you call Zach or email Zach, I'm sure he's going to want to talk to you and kind of share what he's done to be successful as well. If this podcast resonated with you, please share it with a friend. Check out MyStudio.io, right? For what I believe is the best sales enablement platform in our industry. Zach, thank you. I appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.